Okay, so the next step for these seam finishes, one, we are going to use what we call the pinking shears, right? They have this edge. This is going to be used on one of these strips, okay? So I'm going to do this one. I like to line up the seam allowances to cut them together. You can cut them separate if you would like. But what you're going to do is you're just going to cut off the very edge of the seam allowance, okay? So you don't need to cut off a huge amount. Nothing super long or crazy. And this takes, 30 seconds, okay? But what pinking shears do is create kind of like a zigzag so that your seam allowances won't fray anymore. So with your projects, you won't get any fraying, okay? So that's pinking shears, super fast, super easy. The other one we're gonna do is the zigzag stitch. Okay, so that's the number 3 stitch on your sewing machine. And what we do is we just want to sew the seam allowances. Okay, we don't want to sew it to the strips. So we're going to fold this part under, okay, because we only want to sew one side of the seam allowance right now. Okay, so make sure you fold it under. Okay, so that's what it looks on the back side. Right, now I'm going to move the camera so you can see the sewing machine. Okay, so, and we're doing the number 3 stitch. You don't have to change any of the width or the length of the top. They can still be 2.5, 2.5, and 4, okay? Unless you want a bigger zigzag, and then you just make sure that the stitch dial is on 3, okay? And you are going to put your sewing machine presser foot down, and you can see right here I'm kind of putting it underneath the presser foot. I like the zigzag to be close to the edge, so as close to the edge as you can get it, and then you're just going to start sewing. Back stitch a little bit, and then you just sew down. And again, this doesn't take super long, 20-30 seconds on each side. When you get close to the end, you can back stitch a little bit, pull it out, leave a tail, okay? So that's one edge done. So same thing, I'm gonna switch it so it looks like this, right? That's how it looks on the back side. We're only sewing the seam allowance, okay? Line it up, press your foot down, back stitch a little bit, and then we just sew it down. Back stitch. Alright, and then same thing. Okay.